Right now, somewhere in America, someone is checking their bank account, hoping to see that tax refund hit. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's your neighbor. Maybe it's a parent trying to stretch groceries until payday. And this year, one number is dominating the conversation: 21 days. The IRS says that if you file your taxes correctly and choose direct deposit, most refunds are issued within 21 days. That's not just a statistic. That's rent. That's medicine. That's gas in the tank. That's your child's school supplies. But here's the real question everyone is asking. Will your refund actually show up in 21 days? Or will you be stuck refreshing your bank app, wondering what went wrong? Because while the IRS advertises that 21-day timeline, not every refund moves at the same speed. Some arrive early, some take longer. And for millions of Americans, that difference can mean late fees, overdraft charges, or tough financial decisions. This isn't just about paperwork. This is about your life, your bills, your plans, and whether that money shows up when you need it most. So in this video, we're breaking down exactly what the IRS means by that 21-day timeline, who qualifies for it, what could delay your refund, and how you can make sure your money gets to your account as fast as possible. Because the truth is, the clock starts ticking the moment you hit submit on your tax return. And what happens in those next 3 weeks could make a big difference in your wallet. What the IRS really means by 21 days. When the IRS says most refunds are issued within 21 days, they're talking about electronically filed returns with direct deposit. That's the key. Not paper returns, not mailed checks, and definitely not returns with errors or missing information. The IRS processing system is built to move fast when everything is clean and correct. If you e-file and request direct deposit, the system can verify your return, approve the refund, and send the payment electronically to your bank. That's how millions of people see refunds hit their accounts in just 2 or 3 weeks. But here's where people get confused. The IRS doesn't promise your money in exactly 21 days. They say most refunds are issued within that time frame. That means some people get their money sooner, and some have to wait longer depending on their situation. The clock starts the day the IRS accepts your return, not the day you prepare it or the day you start your taxes. And that difference can matter. For example, if you submit your return on a Friday night and it isn't accepted until Monday, the countdown starts Monday. And there's another important detail. The IRS may issue the refund within 21 days, but your bank still needs to process the deposit. Some banks release funds immediately. Others hold them for a day or two. So your refund might technically be issued, but not yet visible in your account. Understanding this timeline helps you avoid unnecessary stress. Because the moment you know how the system works, you can track your refund more confidently and plan your finances around realistic expectations. Why direct deposit changes everything. If you're still choosing a paper check, you could be adding weeks to your wait time without even realizing it. The IRS has made one thing very clear. Direct deposit is the fastest way to get your refund. When you select direct deposit, your money travels electronically from the Treasury straight into your bank account. No envelopes, no mail trucks, no waiting for a check to arrive, and no risk of it getting lost or stolen. For families counting on that refund, the difference can be huge. Direct deposit often means seeing your money in about 3 weeks or less. But with a paper check, you might wait several extra weeks just for the mail to arrive. And if there's any issue with the address, the delay can stretch even longer. There's also another advantage: security. Direct deposit reduces the chances of fraud, theft, or misplacement. Once the IRS sends your refund, it goes directly into your account without any middle steps. And here's something many people don't realize. You can even split your refund into multiple accounts, like sending part to savings and part to checking. That means your refund can start working for you the moment it arrives. So if you want the fastest timeline, the IRS message is simple: e-file and choose direct deposit. That combination is what makes the 21-day window possible. The biggest reasons refunds get delayed. Now let's talk about the part no one likes to hear: delays. Because even though the IRS aims for that 21-day timeline, several things can slow down your refund. The most common reason is simple errors: a wrong social security number, a misspelled name, incorrect bank details. Even small mistakes can force the IRS to stop your return and review it manually. And once a human has to step in, the clock can stretch from weeks into months. Another major cause of delays is certain tax credits. If you claim credits like the Earned Income Tax Credit or the Additional Child Tax Credit, the IRS may hold your refund longer to verify the information. These credits are valuable, but they also come with extra checks. Identity verification can also slow things down. If the IRS suspects fraud or sees something unusual in your return, they may send you a letter asking for confirmation. Until you respond, your refund stays on hold. And then there's the issue of incomplete returns. Missing forms, missing signatures, or mismatched income information can all trigger delays. The bottom line: the cleaner and more accurate your return is, the faster your refund moves through the system. How to track your refund without stress. Once you've filed your taxes, the waiting game begins. But instead of guessing, the IRS gives you a tool called Where's My Refund? This online tracker lets you check your refund status 24 hours after e-filing. All you need is your social security number, filing status, and refund amount. The system shows 3 simple stages: return received, refund approved, refund sent. That's it. No complicated language, no confusing updates, just a clear view of where your money is in the process. But here's the important part. Checking the tracker every 5 minutes won't speed anything up. The IRS updates the system once per day, usually overnight. So constant refreshing just leads to frustration. If you filed electronically with direct deposit and everything was correct, the best thing you can do is give it time. Most refunds still land within that 21-day window. And remember, once the IRS sends the money, your bank may take another day or two to post it. So even when the tracker says refund sent, you might still be waiting a short time for it to appear. The role your bank plays in the timeline. Many people assume that once the IRS sends the refund, it appears instantly. But that's not always how it works. Your bank is part of the process too. Some banks release deposits as soon as they receive them. Others hold them briefly to verify the transaction. That's why two people with identical refunds might see the money on different days. Credit unions and online banks sometimes post deposits earlier than traditional banks. But policies vary, and weekends or holidays can also shift the timeline. For example, if the IRS issues your refund on a Friday, your bank might not post it until Monday. That's not a delay from the IRS. That's just the banking schedule. So if you're waiting for your refund, it helps to check with your bank about their deposit policies. Knowing how they handle incoming payments can give you a clearer expectation of when your money will actually show up. What to do if 21 days pass with no refund? So what happens if the 21-day mark comes and goes, and your refund still isn't there? First, don't panic. The IRS advises taxpayers to check the refund tracker before taking any other steps. In many cases, the system will show a reason for the delay. If the tracker says your return is still being processed, it usually means the IRS needs more time to review something. This could be related to identity verification, credits, or income matching. If the tool instructs you to contact the IRS, follow those directions carefully. But calling too early can lead to long hold times and no new information. The key is patience and accuracy. Most delays are resolved automatically once the IRS completes its review. How to speed up your refund this year. If you want your refund as fast as possible, there are a few simple steps you can take. First, file electronically. Paper returns move much slower because they have to be processed manually. Second, double-check your information. Make sure names, social security numbers, and bank details are correct. Third, choose direct deposit. This is the single biggest factor in getting your refund within that 21-day window. And finally, file early. The earlier you submit your return, the earlier the clock starts. Why? This refund matters more than ever. For millions of Americans, a tax refund isn't just extra money. It's a financial reset. It's catching up on bills, fixing the car, or finally replacing that broken appliance. Some families use it to pay down debt. Others use it for school expenses, medical costs, or emergency savings. That's why the 21-day timeline matters so much, because when your budget is tight, timing is everything. A refund that arrives on time can ease stress and give you breathing room, but a delayed refund can throw your entire month off balance. This is why understanding the process and avoiding mistakes can make a real difference in your financial life. The exact moment your 21-day clock starts. One of the biggest misunderstandings about the IRS refund timeline is when the 21-day countdown actually begins. Many people think it starts the moment they finish their taxes or click the submit button, but that's not always true. Your 21-day clock begins only after the IRS accepts your return. That acceptance is like the official starting gun. If your return sits in a queue waiting to be processed, those days don't count yet, and that can make a real difference in your expectations. For example, if you submit your return on a weekend or late at night, it may not be accepted until the next business day. Some people assume they're already 3 or 4 days into the waiting period, when in reality, the countdown hasn't even started. And here's another detail that matters. If the IRS rejects your return because of an error, the clock resets. You'll have to fix the issue and resubmit it. Only after it's accepted does the 21-day timeline officially begin. That's why checking your email or tax software notifications is so important. You want to confirm the IRS has actually accepted your return. Without that confirmation, you could be waiting longer than you expected without even realizing why. So remember this, filed is not the same as accepted. And understanding that difference can save you a lot of confusion, stress, and unnecessary worry. Early filers versus late filers. Who gets paid first? There's a common belief that filing early guarantees the fastest refund. And in many cases, that's true. But the real story is a little more complicated. When tax season first opens, the IRS processing system isn't overwhelmed yet. That means early filers often move through the system more quickly. Their returns are processed before the heavy traffic begins. But as the season progresses, millions of returns start pouring in. The system gets busier, and that's when some refunds begin to slow down. Not because of mistakes, but simply because of volume. However, there's another side to this. Filing too early, especially before all your forms arrive, can create problems. If you forget a form or report incorrect income, you may have to amend your return later, and amended returns take much longer to process. So the smartest strategy isn't just to file early, it's to file early and accurately. Wait until you have all your tax documents. Double check your information. Then submit your return as soon as you're confident everything is correct. That way, you avoid delays and still take advantage of the faster processing window at the start of the season. The IRS message is simple. E-file, choose direct deposit, and most refunds arrive within 21 days. But behind that promise is a system that depends on accuracy, timing, and a little patience. Your refund isn't just a number on a screen. It's groceries, rent, school supplies, and peace of mind. And knowing how the process works gives you more control over when that money reaches your account. So as you prepare your taxes this year, remember that every detail matters. One small mistake could slow things down. But a clean, accurate return could mean your refund shows up right on schedule. And in times like these, 3 weeks can feel like a lifetime or a lifeline. Stay informed, stay prepared, and keep an eye on the updates that could affect your wallet. Because the next change, the next deadline, or the next big announcement could be the one that impacts your family the most. And that's exactly why staying subscribed and tuned in matters more than ever.